2009.
2009.
I think we can all agree it's been a challenging year. What should HP's focus be moving into the second half of 2009? And how do the recent reductions in compensation and benefits align with that strategy?
So I think, Stuart, the best way to describe it would be in 2009, I've had many CEOs tell me that whatever strategic plan they had, they've ripped it up.
Right.
Strategic plans are out the window. I don't care about 3-year plans. I got a plan for every week, trying to get through the turmoil that's gone on. It's not what we've done. So we've tried to take tactical actions to maintain our strategic direction. And that's the best way I could describe it. When we look at things we've done, we've tried not to cut at the core. Doesn't mean we've always achieved it, and nor do I mean that we still won't have other actions we've got to take. I can't guarantee, anything. Other than for what we're seeing right now, based on the data, certainly since we're late in the quarter, I got to be careful with what I say, but certainly given where we saw at the end of Q1, based on the data that we had, we took actions that we thought made sense to keep the fabric and the muscle of the company together. You've seen lots of layoffs announced yet even after. We've just seen other tech companies announce yet more layoffs.
Right.
It doesn't mean we won't have some in certain areas. We need to make those in a precise way as opposed to making peanut butter spread actions, because I think the company is actually strong. I think there is a very strong possibility that we emerge out of this stronger on a relative basis than we went in. And so we're going to continue to make tactical decisions to try to get us through '09, but all with a focus on how we emerge out of this as a stronger entity. I've just never believed that layoffs for the sake of a short-term answer are a good decision, only if you've got to hire back talent in the end of it. It's a very expensive, very dangerous process and a cycle to get into. Did that mean we could sit here and do nothing? No. We had to take action given the numbers we were seeing, and our product businesses, PSG included, having the difficulties that we're having. Right. So I'd say, given what I know, I think we've made the right decisions given the data that we've had. So our focus is still long term. We want the company to be in the absolute strongest position that it can be in. We'll continue to try to make tactical decisions to help us in the short term, but tactical decisions in the short term that line up with a long-term thought process on how we get the company in the best position in the industry that we possibly can.
Right. Shifting gears over to EDS. Are the EDS and HP sales teams aligned to ensure our customers receive the maximum value from the services that we provide?
I get a lot of emails on this. Emails from, I think, part of our businesses in IPG and PSG and to some degree even ESS about let's get the EDS guys selling all of the HP stuff. It's not exactly how we're working on it. So we are not mandating to EDS that they demand that EDS customers buy from HP. What we're actually trying to do is get our product businesses and infrastructure businesses lined up with EDS way back further in the supply chain and build solutions that customers want to buy, that they become the natural answer because they're easier to provision, they're easier to service, they're better priced because they're integrated than just at the end of the cycle, hey, why don't you buy this from HP instead of somebody else? Right. So we're trying to work on that solutioning piece way, way back in the process. And it is starting to show results. So the HP content is going up dramatically at EDS. Is it as good as it can be? A long way from that. But it's going to take time for us to get the alignment right because we don't want the customer seeing EDS as a infrastructure, HP-centric sales arm. I'd say we flip it the other way that says getting TSG. If you looked at EDS historically, let me back up a second. IBM historically has gotten about 40% of its services businesses through its sales force with no RFP.
Right.
EDS has generally gotten most of its business, I won't say all, but most, through RFP. So the ability for us to go to a model more like our competitors than the old EDS model really gets down to that alignment with the TSG sales force that you described.
Right.
And we've got to get that done. Now, remembering too that IBM and EDS together don't have more than 19% of the services market. So there's 81% of the services market that's in neither one of our hands. The opportunity for the TSG sales force to find opportunities, important that they're well qualified. We don't want EDS guys running around bidding on every 10 minutes on things that are not well thought through.
Right.
But our opportunity to get well qualified, thought through opportunities to EDS probably has a better chance for growth than the alternative of EDS just selling hardware into the market. The way we would think about it would be get that TSG sales force, get EDS lined up to win the services deal, work on the solutioning process on the back end to make the HP infrastructure very attractive in how it's brought to market through its EDS solutions. That ecosystem is a very attractive ecosystem, but it starts with us getting EDS to win deals. And for us to get TSG sales force to get EDS well positioned in those accounts early in the sales cycle, if we can do that, and then we can get the back end supply chain process work, but building solutions, we got an opportunity to pull the whole ecosystem through, and that's what we're focused on.
Right. Very good. Next one, Cisco.
Cisco.
Cisco's near and dear to my heart. I've been the PSG account manager there for 6 years. How would you characterize that relationship now, and how's it changed since they've entered the server market?
I think it's got a little bit of everything, that you could imagine. We're partners. Cisco is a big partner to EDS, has been historically a big partner to HP. We do a huge amount of revenue for Cisco, bringing Cisco capabilities to the market. Second, Cisco is a supplier to us internally. Thirdly, we've been a supplier to Cisco from an IT perspective. And then we've got a competitive piece of the market. Cisco's been very focused on the network and trying to take capabilities from the data center and bring them towards the network, i.e. this release they've announced with this high-end sort of niche server they're talking about. Clearly, we're going to make moves to virtualize part of the network. I don't think the answer is probably yes or no or black or white. But clearly that's going to have elements of competition in it. So I think it's a cooperative relationship. Both are big. There's elements of both that'll force us to partner and probably make sense for us to partner in the market. At the same time as you're going to see elements of us competing. I think the areas like ProCurve is competitive with Cisco. Virtual Connect coming out of our server business is while not a direct competitor to Cisco, competitive to their certainly their messaging and their architecture.
Right.
So I think it's got all kinds of different dynamics in it.
Mark, with the federal government poised to spend billions, even trillions, on projects like healthcare, smart electrical grid, renewable energy, how do you think HP is positioned to compete for that business?
Well, I think when you look at if you're talking about the U.S., because there's multiple stimuluses around the globe, and I think we need to think about the world as globally as opposed to U.S.-centric. Globally, we've seen some countries like China, their stimulus package being very effective. And we've seen that government stimulus go directly into the hands of consumers and directly into the hands of businesses that are building out infrastructure projects, and those have translated to discrete opportunities for HP.
Right.
I think if you specifically ask about the U.S. one is less clear how those dollars translate down to specific projects. A lot of that money is going to states, and states have to close budget gaps. And it's unclear how much of that money will go to close budget gaps and then how much will actually translate into specific projects. There are a few we can see. But right now, there's less clarity in the stimulus dollars going to the state and then actually manifesting itself in a lot of discrete projects. We can find a few.
Right.
But we're tracking it closely, trying to understand exactly how it shows up in the terms of things that we can actually go compete for. And there's another whole thread to this, which is how much we can now influence and influence spend on ways that the U.S. actually could get more efficient. get cost out of its budget, automate things. And there's tremendous opportunities in markets like healthcare, and I could go on, where you've got a healthcare industry that's not the same 1.9 trillion globally for IT, but the U.S. healthcare industry is about $1.92 trillion. About 33% of that is G&A, so just overhead. So think of the industry spending almost $700 billion sort of moving paper, back and forth. And that opportunity is huge for automation to take cost out and raise service levels. You've got the whole story of just, tens of thousands of people because that have died in the U.S. through just prescription mistakes, and the ability, sometimes misreading the prescription the doctor hand wrote, or not understanding the interrelationship between various drugs that occur, that a patient may be taking. All of those are huge opportunities for automation. To do that, standards have to be in place, and there has to be clarity of solutions. So as those mature, we have opportunities. I can't say in the U.S. right now we've seen a huge number of those mature into very discrete projects, but we'll track them.
So Mark, I don't have any more questions. Do you have any closing thoughts that you'd like to close with?
Thank you, Stuart. I appreciate you doing this and taking time. And again, I think I'd probably close by saying, there's a lot of work going on in the company right now, and I appreciate all of that hard work. Obviously, we're in the middle of trying to close Q2, and it's just important for us right now to have both a short-term focus to get through '09. At the same time, as I can assure you, we're trying to keep a long-term focus and connect these dots, if you will, together, so that we're taking those tough short-term actions that we have to take. I wish I knew a better way to get through it, but try to make sure as many of those decisions as possible align to the long-term direction of the company.
Well, Mark, we really appreciate your time. Thank you.
Thanks.